Hey guys, welcome to question FM156 of the Further Maths Fortify study guide. This question reads, the following graph shows the decreasing value of an asset over 5 years. Now I've drawn a fairly rough graph showing the general shape of the graph that you'll have in your books, but definitely refer to that graph as I sort of mention the different characteristics of these formulas, or these equations I should say, and the sequences that they describe. Now, the best way for us to sort of show how this question works, now if you're quite a cluey student, which hopefully by your exam times you are, you may be able to very quickly scan through these equations and figure out which one the correct one is and which ones are going to be wrong. But let's go through them sequentially and look at why 4 of these answers are wrong and 1 of these answers is going to be correct. So if we look at option A, this says that A equals 85,000 times 1.77 to the power of n. Well, this 85,000 times 1.77, now all of our options start with 85,000 because on your graph you're able to see that this initial investment amount is 85,000, and then we're decreasing in a geometric sequence of sorts. We can tell this because of this curve that's happening here. We're not moving in a linear fashion. So it's not arithmetic, it is geometric, which a lot of these, well, a couple of these attempt to describe geometric series. So here, option A, 85,000 times 1.77, this times 1.77 should actually indicate an increase of 77% at each step along the way. We can see clearly here that this is decreasing, and for that reason, option A could not be our answer. If you aren't sure about how this works, I recommend taking this sequence and then plugging the first couple of values for n in. So maybe have n is 0, n is 1, n is 2, and have a look at the numbers that come up, and you'll start to begin to see what this series would actually look like. Option A is not our answer. Option B, A is equal to 85,000 times 0.77n. This actually looks like it could be our answer because this equation is describing a series where we're finding 77% of our previous answer at each step. So this is pretty accurately described there. If we've got 85,000, we find 77% of that, and then we find 77% of this. That moves along. Now the confusing, so this looks like a potential answer, so we'll leave it alone for now, and we'll make sure that the rest of our options are in fact incorrect. Option C is a bit of a tricky one because it looks very similar to option B except for one sort of key difference, and that is that in option B we've got 0.77 to the power of n, and in option C we've got 0.77 times n, or multiplied by n. What's going to happen as we increase the value of n is this value of 0.77 will change. So when n is 0, we'll have 85,000. When n is 1, we'll have 77% of 85,000. But then when n becomes 2, this number will change to 1.54, and we'll have a 54% increase on 85,000. So our graph, if we were to draw it out, it's going to start at 85,000, it's going to move down, and then it's going to move up. So definitely not what we're looking for there, and for that reason, option C is also incorrect. Option D says 85,000 times 1.77n. Once again, for a very similar reason, this is going to be incorrect. Our graph will look a little different this time. We'll start at 85,000, and then we'll have a 77% increase on 85,000, and then we will have a 254% increase on 85,000, and the graph is going to look very different. Once again, if you're not sure on what the shape of these graphs are going to look like at all, I encourage you to get your CAS or jump on Desmos maybe and just plot these and have a look at how they're going to look. Final option, option E, is 85,000 times 7.7n. Now this is clearly wrong for the same reason that options C and D are wrong. We're multiplying by 7.7, we're either multiplying by nothing, multiplying by 7.7, or multiplying by 15.4 in the first 3 steps. Definitely not what we want to be doing to achieve a graph that looks like this. So option B, which is our potential answer, is looking very much like our real answer. And of course it is. If you guys have any questions on how we've deduced this, please drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.